You read the title. You know why we're here. So I need to at least preface this video with something, with just a quick disclaimer. I absolutely love Marvel. I love the MCU, I love the Marvel movies, I love the TV shows, I love the comics. I have a Spider-Man tattoo on my arm. I genuinely think that these movies are meaningful. I think this franchise is very meaningful. However, it might come as a little bit disrespectful for me to say, I don't think Robert Downey Jr. should play Doctor Doom. Let me get into it. I understand that Doctor Doom was Tony Stark at some point in the comics, okay? I understand that. I understand that Tony Stark and Doctor Doom switched minds at some point in the comics. I don't totally know the details of it, but I just don't think that that is the right story to be trying to tell in the MCU, and I've got a couple reasons as to why. Number one, it's not the fact that it's Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom. I think he's going to do a great job with the character. I think he's going to do a great job with almost any character he's given. But I think my problem with it more than anything is the fact that it was announced, right? Why would Marvel, the king of hiding things, the king of keeping their secrets secret, except for a couple of flubs with Tom Holland and Mark Ruffalo here and there, why would the MCU spoil something like that? And the only answer that I can really truly bring it back to is money. And I hate that. I don't want that to be the case. And I would love to believe there's some other reason. But why? The best answer I can give is that they're trying to put butts in seats, okay? Marvel's been having a bit of trouble lately, okay? They haven't been able to get the sales they've been wanting. The movies haven't been that good. Thor, Love and Thunder, we're looking at you. It's just, there have been issues, right? Since Endgame, there has been a problem. And there's a great video titled The Post-Endgame Problem that I'll link down in the description because I think it does a great job of explaining some of the issues here. But I'm not going to dive into all that. I'm going to try to stay focused on the point at hand, right? Let me set the scene for you, okay? We're watching, it's 2026 already. We're watching Avengers Doomsday, right? You're in the theater and you don't know about this. Imagine, wipe from your mind the idea that you know that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be playing Doctor Doom. So now we go through some of the setup of the movie. We see some of what Doctor Doom's capable of. We see that the Avengers understand he is a problem. They need to deal with him in whatever way they have to. So, you know, they've come face to face with their villain. Doctor Doom is demonstrating some of his abilities while the Avengers are rocking back against him. You know, Sam Wilson's Captain America socks him once on the side, sending him reeling to the side, while suddenly Spider-Man jumps out of nowhere and he hits him with a flying spin kick, knocks his mask off his helmet. He's reeling. Cut to the camera at the ground with the mask rattling into view on the floor as we see Doctor Doom kind of reeling in the back, you know, mask falling into the right third of the camera with Doctor Doom out of focus in the background. Suddenly, there's a pause in the music. Everything gets quiet, you know. We cut back to our heroes, and Sam Wilson looks absolutely stunned. Spider-Man pulls down his mask, some nanotech bullcrap that they're gonna have in his new suit, whatever it's gonna be. And he's shocked, okay? Tears welling in his eyes. He has no idea what he's looking at, but we know it must be something, right? So cut back to Doctor Doom, maybe waist level, slow pan up the body. Face reveal, Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark. Imagine the audience response to that. Imagine what it would sound like. It would be reminiscent of Endgame. It would be reminiscent of an Avengers Assemble moment. If you ask me personally, I would be rocked by that moment. And any issues that I might have now they wouldn't be at the top of my mind because I'm looking at Tony Stark on screen, but he died. Tony Stark died. So what is this? Why can't we get that reveal? I'm actually disappointed that we can't get a reveal like that. I understand I'm not a scriptwriter by any means, okay? So don't come at me for, you know, saying I can write better than Marvel. I don't think I can write better than Marvel, although some scenes in some of the films have been a little touch and go. But I don't get it. I don't get why they would want to take that away from the audiences. I understand that San Diego Comic-Con is a huge, huge deal for comics, but unless you're just trying to put butts in seats and sell tickets with Robert Downey Jr.'s name and throw Robert Downey Jr. on the press junket, why would you give us that so soon? maybe even in a trailer, give us some sort of a reveal. Like, it's just he walks out in a convention panel, and I get it. Like, if you're in that panel, it's got to be absolutely mind-blowing. You're now looking at Robert Downey Jr., whomst you once thought was dead. It's just, it doesn't feel right. It feels like they did it like this for the wrong reasons. Another point. As much as I love Robert Downey Jr., this man kills his roles. Oppenheimer, he absolutely killed his role. But I would love to see somebody else get the spotlight. And I don't just say that as someone who's, experiencing superhero fatigue, or as I was talking to my one buddy about it, just cinematic franchise fatigue. I'm getting tired of it. I'm getting tired of sequels. I'm getting tired of reboots. I'm getting tired of seeing the same faces. So, as awful as it is to phrase it this way, it was almost a breath of fresh air to see Tony Stark die. Because there's this finality to it. There's this conclusion of like, okay, Robert Downey Jr.'s era has come to an end. That was my era of the MCU. And I'm more than okay with the fact that it gets passed on. Chris Evans is no longer Captain America because he's an old man who sat on a bench and lived his life with Peggy for the rest of his life, and he deserved that. And the mantle was passed on to Sam Wilson. So it feels almost like they were setting up to have Robert Downey Jr.'s mantle passed down to Spider-Man, to Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but it just doesn't feel right. Like, now they've got him back, and yeah, he's a different character, and he's a villain, and he's in a totally different position. It just feels wrong. And again, listen, I had an interesting feeling when I was watching The Force Awakens, right? Where it's giving us this big dramatic reveal once Kylo Ren's mask comes off, and we're wondering who's going to be under the mask. And it pans up, and it is nobody that we've seen in the franchise before. If you know Adam Driver, you're like, oh, cool, it's Adam Driver. But that's not a big deal relative to Star Wars. And then he built the name of Kylo Ren for himself. He became Kylo Ren, and it worked. But it feels like we're not going to get that opportunity here with Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is a character that speaks for himself. He's been a living planet, for God's sake. So unless they're slapping Robert Downey Jr.'s face on a planet and calling that his role as Doctor Doom, it just feels forced. It feels like, again, like it takes me out of the franchise, because it's this, yes, obviously there has been this storyline where Tony Stark has been Doctor Doom, but why would it be this storyline of all stories to have? With all of the Fantastic Four directions that they could have taken, you're just giving us Tony Stark again. And that's the thing. Robert Downey Jr. has been typecast as Tony Stark, and that is partially his fault, okay? He has lived and breathed as Tony Stark outside of the films, just during the press tours, during all the media attention, all the spotlights. He acts like Tony Stark. Dude's basically Tony Stark. So when I'm watching Oppenheimer, and I don't even remember his character's name in Oppenheimer, still to this day, I'd have to look it up right now, and I'm not going to do that, because at the end of the day, I'm watching Oppenheimer, I'm like, yeah, it's Tony Stark. He's Tony Stark. So then to put him in the shoes of a villain like Doctor Doom, it is, in my opinion, it's taking away from the character of Doctor Doom, because now you're looking at him through the lens of Tony Stark, right? And you're going to be judging his performance based on how you judged Robert Downey Jr.'s performance of Tony Stark for the past 15 years. It doesn't feel right. It feels like they really went for a swing and they really missed, but they missed because they swung too early. They swung or why would you tell us it's Robert Downey? Like, the best part about this, in my opinion, is the reveal itself. And now the reveal doesn't come in the movie, so now I don't see what else the movie's gonna bring to the table. I mean, it's already facing the criticisms of when is enough, right? Think Deadpool, for example. If you haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine, this isn't really a spoiler, but if you don't want to hear anything about it until you see it, you can skip to this point in the video. Maybe right here. Maybe I won't put it there, and I'll just I don't know. Whatever. So, Deadpool and Wolverine, towards the end, there's this moment where Deadpool and Wolverine are faced with the multiverse of Deadpools. And he's kind of cracking jokes, but he's saying, can we give this multiverse shit a rest? Right? Can we just not? Because it's been miss after miss after miss. And yeah, it's a joke for a Deadpool movie, but it's true, and it's in an MCU movie now. They are aware of the fact that these movies are missing. So, if you're gonna be leaning into the multiverse by getting the Fantastic Four into the MCU, and that's how you want to do it, is through the multiverse, whatever, fine. But you're just making it so much more cluttered by making this character of Doctor Doom Tony Stark. It doesn't feel right, because now I already know what I'm expecting. I can already imagine, Tom Holland's face. He's gonna be like, "Oh my God, Mr. Stark," and then Doctor Doom's gonna do like at this point now, it's gonna have to be so incredibly memorable in a way outside of the fact that Robert Downey Jr. is playing the character, right? Like, he's gonna have to just straight up kill Spider-Man. And honestly, that's like, as much as I love Spider-Man to death, it almost feels like that's the best direction to go with it, is because he's going to be so put off and let down his guard by the fact that, "That's Mr. Stark, oh my God." And then Dr. Doom's just going to be like, "Haha, who's that?" And then kill him or something. Like, it feels like they shouldn't have told us. I feel entirely ripped off, and the movie comes out in 2 years. And that's a really weird feeling, if you ask me. And another note regarding Deadpool and Wolverine, one of the biggest points in the movie with having Hugh Jackman come back, again, Hugh Jackman coming back after Wolverine died, it's like, okay, we're just working for the same character again. And again, I think it works because it was a Deadpool joke, right? Like, it's the most Deadpool thing to do, of take this character who's so greatly respected and died and had the best death anybody could have offered him, and then pull him out of the fucking grave and literally beat people to fucking death with his bones. Great. Absolutely great. But that's not what's going to be happening with Tony Stark. It's just going to be, he's going to walk through some fucking portal and be like Doctor Doom, and then under the mask is going to be Robert Downey Jr. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like it's going to be good quality. I don't see how they're going to be able to pull it off. And I just hope to God they can, because I love these movies, and it's so hard to keep loving movies and a franchise where I'm watching it, first of all, going into it expecting nothing great, and coming out of it thinking, yeah, all right, whatever. Like, the whole point in Deadpool was till you're 90, right? Like, that's the whole joke with Wolverine. It's like, now you're in it till you're 90. Robert Downey Jr. is coming back, new mask, same task, till you're fucking 90, bro. Like, I mean, I'm sure they're tossing incredible amounts of money at Robert Downey Jr., I'm sure. But it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. As a fan of the franchise, as a fan of the characters, it just doesn't feel right. It was more than just Tony Stark dying. Again, it was the end of an era for the audience, and it was unspoken, and the audience had that full understanding of, we are not going to see Robert Downey Jr. again. And now we are, Like, we finally got him out of the gray pajamas with the fuzzy dots on it for motion tracking, and now we're putting him right back in. It's just going to be another CGI-fueled nightmare, and just punching and kicking. And it's going to be Robert Downey Jr. punching and kicking, even though we as the audience know he's too old to be punching and kicking. It doesn't fit. I can't think of anyone better for it. I'm not saying that he's going to do a bad job, but just the fact that I, as a fan, can't think of a better casting choice. I mean, give it to, what's his face? Alexander Skarsgård, the dude who played Pennywise, and he was in Dune Part 2. Give him that. Give that to him. It's just, give us a face we haven't seen in the MCU, because it pulls all of the love out of everything else. It feels like they're retconning the feeling that I had in the movie theater. To see Robert Downey Jr.'s character of Tony Stark die on the battlefield was a feeling that I genuinely cannot express, okay? To be a fan of something for so long and to watch it just die, to see it at a point where it's not going to come back. Maybe there'll be a flashback here or there. And, you can make the argument, well, he's not coming back. He's coming back as a different character. Yeah, you could make that argument, but I'm not going to look at it that way. And I don't think a lot of people are going to be able to. I don't think it's going to be that easy to separate Tony Stark from Doctor Doom when they've got the exact same face. Regardless of what his performance is, he's Robert Downey Jr. It's more than a performance, and that's the issue. You know, another Deadpool and Wolverine spoiler for you really quick. Having Chris Evans in it, and then having him not be Captain America and him be Johnny Storm, and it be like a gag, but also be like the character that he's now playing in that movie, it worked because it makes sense, right? Like, it was a character he's already played. So first of all, it was a gag on the studio, which fair, but it worked better because I didn't watch him die on screen. You know, like he got his closure, but there could still be other stories to tell. You know, there's the ambiguity here and there. It's just the fact that it's Robert Downey Jr. and he's playing such a big role. It's not like he's just playing Bob from accounting in the Avengers office, and you know the running joke is just, wow, you look a lot like Tony Stark. Like, I don't know. And now Deadpool's going to be in the MCU, so honestly, he might even be in that Avengers movie. So what, is now he going to start cracking jokes about how Doctor Doom looks like Tony Stark? Like, it's now predictable. Like, I can, within the time between right now and when that movie hits theaters and I get to go and see it, I can almost guarantee that nothing that happens on screen will be something that I didn't, like, think at some point in my mind, that didn't ruminate in my thoughts before going into the theater. And that's disappointing. I want to be surprised as a moviegoer. And not just as a moviegoer, for God's sake. I want to be surprised in the MCU. Okay? I want to feel something in the MCU again. Outside of just laughing. Because, yeah, I love Deadpool and Wolverine. But it wasn't the same feeling. You know? Like, the feeling I got watching Spider-Man Homecoming for the 13th time is not the same as the feeling I got absolutely dying laughing at Deadpool dancing to NSYNC, don't get me wrong, but it's a different feeling, and that feeling of Tony Stark dying completely feels like it's been pulled away from me. So I guess for those reasons, I don't think Robert Downey Jr. should be Doctor Doom. And it's you know, someone said it in the comments of the video I watched of the announcement where they were like, this kind of feels like a joke to mask the real reveal. I hope so. I really hope it is. I hope they're saying he's going to play Doctor Doom, but he's only going to have like a cameo, and it'll be like a quick reference of the timeline where Tony Stark is Doctor Doom. But I don't know, man. I don't know. That's all I got. That's it. That's my take. So, I mean, if you liked it, please leave a like. If you want to argue with me, please, absolutely, let's have some conversation in the comments, because I need more perspectives on this. I want to be more optimistic about it. I really, really do. But as of right now, I'm not feeling optimistic. So please leave a comment down below, because I would love to hear some different perspectives. And subscribe if you think I had anything interesting to say, and you might want to see something else out of my mouth one day. So, on that terrible disappointment, thank you, Jeremy Clarkson. It's time to end. See you later.